I don't
I'm
necessarily
not touching
like
you.
So hello, everybody. Welcome to our September Real Mushrooms Facebook Live for pets. My name is Joni Camlet, and I'm the director of the Pet and Practitioner Departments for Real Mushrooms. And I'm here with my trusty colleague and friend, Dr. Rob Silver. And we are both like absolutely over the moon excited because we have the two crazy cat ladies with us. Oh my goodness.
We're so excited to be here.
Jay Kennedy and Adrian, and I swear I forgot.
Jay and Adrian is fine.
Jay and Adrian's fine, but you could just pronounce it.
Yeah,
Lefave. Okay, and we're so delighted to have you here. Rob is a huge cat lover. He's a Maine Coon guy.
I love huge cats, actually.
He likes big cats and he cannot lie. Yeah. So, anyway, and I'm a cat lover too. I don't have any cats right now, but yes, so we're going to be talking about all things cats. Super excited to dive into it. But, first I'm really curious, like my understanding is you got into this line of work because you were into holistic cat health. And there just really wasn't anything out there when you went out looking. So you've created an entire platform. And also, like, you have your own products, the Feline Essentials line. Can you kind of share a little bit about how you got into this?
Yeah, actually, so we were actually in holistic pet health for 10 years. So we started in 2005 with my family business, and they sold a line of supplements, and it was very dog centric.
It was very educational. We learned so much. I mean,
a lot about pet food, and we learned all that like way back then.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and it was nice. It was good, except for we had cats, and so whenever there was an issue that came up, it was like when you asked anybody, even in the industry, it was like, even in my family business, they're like, well, it works like this for dogs, so maybe it works like that for cats, or like I've never heard of that before because dogs don't deal with that. Like it was just basically, we really noticed that the cats were underserved in this community. Yeah. So in 2015, we branched off and we sought out to become the resource that we just couldn't find. Wow. So yeah, that's how we got started.
Our motto is to learn, share, and grow. And I love that this community is growing so much. But yeah, we really just started off learning as much as we could and sharing everything that we were learning, and
we continue to do that.
Yeah,
I love that. And Britta, so we have Britta, our amazing human who's behind the scenes. Britta, can you drop a link to their webpage? That would be awesome. And Rob, like, I'm curious about like cats, with holistic health and everything. Like, did you have the same experience where things were more focused on the canine side and you had to figure out how to do it with cats?
Well, cats as a species, are very challenging, because they have specific requirements as far as their space and their boundaries and everything else in terms of physical and emotional and food-wise, all those things. And so if you're going to be a holistic vet, you really need to be able to observe the animal in their native state. And, if you're doing acupuncture or some kind of, hands-on thing, they need to be in a state where they accept that. So early on, I learned some tricks with cats, and they are my favorite species to work on, I think, because they are so challenging. Dogs are easy. I'm fond of saying, dog comes when called, but a cat takes a message and gets back to you. It really,
It is true.
I love that. So what we do in this Facebook Live is we answer questions. So I see that there are people, hello, everybody who is joining us. A couple things. First, we're going to read, Rob's going to read a disclaimer, and then we're going to give out some promo codes because both Real Mushrooms and the Two Crazy Cat Ladies are offering like really cool discounts. So take it away, Rob.
Okay. I just wanted to say that It's my pleasure tonight to answer your questions to my best of my ability, but I have limitations because I don't have direct contact or information about your animal. And so you need to look at what I'm saying tonight as being educational advice, not medical advice that's specific to your pet. But I will do my best to help you, because I know if you have a question, you're coming here tonight, you're probably in great need of some some good answers.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. And so tonight, and if you have like jot it down, we're going to be talking about supporting your cat's health through enrichment and daily care. So of course, we're going to be talking about mushrooms because we are a mushroom company, and
Surprising.
mushroom obsessed. Who was that just walked by?
This is Friday.
This is Friday.
Friday Rose.
Okay, hi Friday. But we're talking about general cat health. So if people have questions, it doesn't have to be mushroom specific. I mean, we've got these 3 experts here, and so let's we can dive in. The promo code for Jay and Adrian's Two Crazy Cat Ladies site is Real Mushrooms. So just use the promo code Real Mushrooms for 20% off site-wide at the2crazycatladies.com until the end of the month. So I encourage you to write that down or take a screenshot. We'll announce it again. We'll announce it a couple times during this.
The Real Mushrooms is a lot easier to remember than Two Crazy Cat Ladies.
Yeah, kind of. True.
At least shorter.
Yeah, and then for the Real Mushrooms, we are also offering a promotion. We're offering 25% off site-wide until the end of the month, and our code is PERKS25. So PURRKS 25.
I like that.
For 25% off site-wide till the end of the month. So Britta, what is our first question? Can I feed my cat a raw diet safely? If not, what are the best natural or whole food diets for cats?
Great question. So yeah, we feed our cats a raw food diet safely. What's really cool about this, guys, is that, like I said, when we started, even in 2015, when we started Two Crazy Cat Ladies, there was one cat food out there, one raw fresh cat food out there that was available specifically for cats. Commercially prepared for cats. And now there's so many, like you see it 10 years later, you see like there's a lot of options out there. So cat parents, like they have options now. It's not just, it's not tiny anymore. It's still growing. It still has room to grow. Yeah. But yes, raw food, cats are obligate carnivores. I believe that it's even more important for a cat to eat a fresh food, high quality, high protein diet than it is even our dogs. Though we love dogs, we do love dogs. And we obviously want them to also eat a carnivore based diet. But when it comes to our cats, we have been feeding raw for many, many years. And the difference in, their overall health, their coats, their everything, really energy. Yeah.
Can I just talk for a minute about their poops?
Oh, that or the smell, which, well, go for it.
I find it remarkable, and I do understand that fear component. I remember when Jay was talking about, we actually switched to a raw diet for our cats when one of our cats was diagnosed with kidney disease. Seems counterintuitive in modern day. It's always like take the meat out of the diet, whatever the phosphorus. We switched over, and I remember feeling that fear and thinking that she was going to kill our cats because you have this fear of raw meat. But it is remarkable when you feed a species what their body is biologically designed to help them thrive. It changes everything, including their poop, which went from, we could clear a house with some of these poops, to we don't know when our cats are pooping now. And I scoop the litter out every day, and they're the most perfect little.
Yeah.
Poops. And it's amazing because it
Yeah.
is. You can see that their body is able to digest it the way it's intended to.
Well,
that
it's utilizing it,
right,
right?
it's
Like if you
utilizing
think of
so
it
much
on
more
like that
nutrients.
surface, if you think of it on a surface level, like when it's, when we were feeding foods that were full of fillers and in carbohydrates or grains or the things that our cats are not created to digest, then there's a lot of waste that has to come out. So that's why the poops were a lot bigger. Their bodies weren't able to use those ingredients.
Yeah, like corn cobs, like grinding up corn cob and putting it in. I know often like I would get, questions when I was working in hands-on integrative, vet med, like, is there something wrong with my dog? I started raw feeding and they're hardly like the poops are like tiny, it's like, no, they're like you're saying, they're taking it all in and utilizing it. Now, Doc Rob, like you've been raw feeding for a long time. And I know you really do the prey model with Ollie. What about your cats?
Well, I wanted to ask the ladies this question because with the avian flu issue with raw poultry, I have concerns. We were feeding our cats, our two Maine Coons, a prey diet that was quail. Quail, we got it from a game bird producer. They were all killed humanely and frozen. And then we thawed them out and basically peeled the feathers off and let them go to town. But there's a great deal of concern. And at this point, I'm not sure what the safety is. So we've switched to other species that we're feeding, and we can't really feed a whole deer or, a rabbit maybe. But, so I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that. And I'm looking forward to when they give us the green light, that avian flu is now not a clear and present danger. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. So when the news came out, there was a huge panic, right?
Yeah.
Or
A lot of people came out just said, just stop.
Yeah,
Even
there were
raw food advocates were.
Cats are especially sensitive to avian flu as compared to dogs,
Right. So they said. So I mean, when I didn't know that it's actually even still a thing because they're not talking about it anymore, right? Like, or I'm not hearing much about it anymore. So we're still feeding chicken and all the things that they were worried about.
I have to say, from my perspective, and I think when you dive into the research a little bit, I think that there is that, it's you can get contamination from the poop of migratory birds, and entire flocks can be impacted by this. I do think that I did a lot of looking into chicken farmers, how they were handling this, and I think that farmers with healthy flocks, they knew that virus was something that kind of moved through. But yeah, to Jay's point, we really didn't take a break from it. My bigger concern, we live in this beautiful area here in Las Vegas that does have a lot of migratory birds, that we do go for a walk every morning, and we know that we're stepping in
duck poop and geese poop.
So my bigger concern was that we would bring something home more so than there would be something in the food. And I think this is definitely a very personal decision for people, because it's going to depend on what research you're looking at, what your particular risk exposure may be to make a decision.
Yeah.
So,
but you also have to think of, like even with the pandemic, right? There was a big scare that cats could get COVID too, right? So so that was also a big fear thing. Our cats made it through just fine. They never had an issue. And I believe that's because we fed them a good species appropriate diet. And so their immune systems, they're strong, right? So what are the chances that, an unhealthy cat is going to get the avian flu versus a healthy cat too, right? So if we had senior cats, and then we might actually be a little bit more worried about that, right? Because they're, starting to get older and break down, things like that. But no, we didn't stop. I would say my advice would be, if you are scared, don't go from a raw food to a kibble diet, right? Like let's not try to take away the nutrients that they need to keep them strong. Instead, go to a cooked diet, right? Like maybe gently cook your food. Still feed them a good fresh diet, so they're still getting the nutrients they need. But switch up the proteins, right?
Switch up the protein.
That's for every cat anyway. Our cats have like they're always, it was like pheasant right now, salmon,
Salmon.
they're eating chicken, they eat rabbit, they, you know, we
Pork.
are always rotating their proteins anyway. And so, you know,
Duck.
maybe stay away
Right.
from the ones that you're worried could carry that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that lightly cooked food is not bad. You
Right.
know, certainly not so much better than kibble and canned. And so that's, you know, that may also be a reasonable option for many folks. Our household is risk averse. And so, you know, I'd like to go back to feeding prey, feeding the quail, but I think for the time being, we're going to avoid that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think, you know, that's so important. It's like every household's different. Every cat is different. Like, I love it. Like, I always refer to Kimberly Gautier that says, you know, you treat the animal in front of you, you know, or you feed the animal in front of you. And I love that there's, you know, that Doc Rob, you're able to say that, like, okay, we're, you know, for now we are risk averse, and that Jay and Adrian, that you all are like, you know, the precautions you're taking are different based on where you're living, and you are still feeding, you know,
Mhm.
It
the
is very personal.
et cetera. Yeah,
It is
Yeah.
about, you know, really, you know, each cat is an individual, right? Like
exactly.
Reed always says dogs are individuals, cats are too. And so, you know, you're the one that knows your cat best, and
Yeah.
you can make the best decisions within your household. So, yeah.
However, speaking of mushrooms, you know, mushrooms could be a good solution if you are not as risk averse as some households are, to start adding mushrooms to the raw poultry that you're feeding, because the mushrooms will, you know, substantially improve the resistance of your animal to pathogenic challenges, you know, period.
Very
Yeah.
well said.
Very
Yeah.
well said.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Adrian.
From freaks around here, we have our
We
melon
are.
and our cordyceps every day. Like we,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we take them
So
ourselves.
thank you for
as well.
making beautiful products for people as well.
There you go.
Absolutely. And for those out there that are listening that don't know, Jay and Adrian have their own line of mushroom products as well, which come in tincture form. So, of course, Real Mushrooms is powder. And, you know, again, it's individual, you know, what works best for your pet. But it's great that you have that option
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
pets. And how, by the way, how many cats share your residence right now?
We share their
We share
residence.
their residents.
We
And
have 5. We have 5.
5 of them. Okay. And Rob, you have 2 or 1 or 2?
We have two.
Okay.
We have to, and I've noticed, and I'm sure you have as well, that there's sort of a critical mass when you start adding cats on. And I found that 3 cats is a bad number. 2 cats is a good number. I suspect 4 to 5 cats starts getting bigger, so they go into their little tribal areas, and they, you know, and they don't have as much adverse social interaction as there is with 3, where you have, you know, 2 that tend to pick on 1.
We've got one that still tends to pick on 2. So
Yeah.
we're working it out.
Yeah,
I love that. So the next question is a mushroom question. Are functional mushrooms safe for cats? What are the easiest mushrooms to get a cat to eat? Oh, that's a good one.
That
Well,
is a good.
functional mushrooms are safe for cats, and if I may answer that first, since it's a mushroom question. And I think one reason they're safe, and this is also true of herbal formulas as well, is just that you can't get that much into a cat to be toxic, you know, unless you put a tube down and kind of, you know, tube feed it. But that withstanding, yes, every single functional mushroom out there that we recommend for humans or we recommend for dogs is also safe for a cat if you can administer it. Now, I have found that the best mushrooms, which would be basically the blandest mushrooms for a cat to eat, would be the cordyceps, first of all, because we know it has substantial benefits for the kidneys as well as many other systems. Then the lion's mane. Lion's mane said to taste a little bit like lobster, and it's a tasty when it's a fresh edible mushroom, and the extract powders are equally bland and tasty. Although, and then tremella, which is also kind of a newer mushroom. Many people aren't familiar with that, but it has many properties similar to lion's mane, but has some very unique properties to itself. Also, you know, can be quite good. But my advice, whenever you're introducing something new to a cat, be it a mushroom or something else, and I'm sure you share my advice, Jay and Adrian, is start with a tiny amount. You know, let your cat get used to a tiny amount, because you give him a whole bunch at once, even if it's really tasty stuff that he might eventually eat, he ain't going to take it. It's too much. Whether it's the taste, the amount of it, the aroma, or the texture, these are all properties that the cat is going to, be very critical of when it first encounters it. So if you can get its favorite wetter kind of, food material, whatever that might be, and start with just a pinch and just use that pinch for a couple of days and make it 2 pinches and work your way up. Some cats are more pliable than others. Ours started originally with raw diets and cantaloupe and, kind of jumping on the counter and eating whatever we're feeding. So they're incredibly flexible. Only one, the male, he prefers, one type of species. The female prefers another type of species. He's more flexible. She's not. I mean, everyone is an individual. So, and then, that's one reason why I formulated the functional feline to be as tasty as it is, because it has 7 mushrooms in it, including our famous 5 defenders. Uses the krill meal, which kind of gives it that tidal pool flavor. But krill's an amazing whole foods concentrate in itself, in that it has a really highly bioavailable form of fish oil. It has several different types of fish oils in it, not just EPA and DHA. It has phospholipids, which are like lecithin, that also help to improve absorption and have their own benefit for the brain and the liver and the nervous system. And it also has astaxanthin, which is an extremely powerful marine-based antioxidant. So we have that. We have the cordyceps and the lion's mane in it. We also have adaptogens, and we have some detoxicants. It's a great formula. And
It really is.
Functional feline is a game changer.
But I will say, I will add to that. So like
Yes.
if you were giving your cat if we're doing this proactively, which I hope we all are, right? So when we started with the functional feline, I did the whole okay, I'm going to give the full dose and see how they take it. And they turned their nose up at it. So then I was able to go back and just do a little bit, a whisper dose, as we call it, and then build up. And it worked perfect. They are absolutely fine with it.
Yeah.
If you take that route. Now, if it's like you need these mushrooms because your cat is dealing with something, and a lot of times, you guys probably get this too. We get it all the time, where people, they come to us at their last row, right? Right. Sardines are a great, smelly, or tuna. You could do tuna too in water,
Sardines
both
are
of
a
them in
cleaner
water,
fish.
not
Yeah.
oil, but sardines we like better because they're smaller fish. But and our cats love them. So when we need to give our cats a supplement or a medication or anything like that, sardines are a great way to mask any kind of scent and mix in, the powders or whatever it is that you need to give your kitties.
I have a trick about that too, if I may interject quickly here, which is that one thing that I would instruct people is to take some sardines or some tuna or some canned mackerel, anything that's got a strong fishy flavor, put it in the blender and blenderize it with water. That way they don't get as much of the actual meat or protein, which might upset their food balance or have an impact on their bladder, but they get the taste. And it seems to work pretty well. Give it a try if you haven't.
Yeah.
I love that. And, I have to say, Jade and Adrian, when the functional feline came out and we sent you the bottles, I was sweating it out. I was like, oh my gosh, what if their cats don't eat it? Like what, and you all were so great, because for the first email we got as well, they're not eating it. But you talked us off the ledge, literally, because we had done feeding tests and the cats ate it, but they're cats, of course, and they're, they can be finicky, but you said, no, we're going to keep working with this. And that suggestion to just give a whisper dose, which is what I tell everybody when I'm talking to them about the product, start with a whisper, just a tiny little bit. That feedback has been so helpful. So thank you very much. And I'm curious, with your tinctures, do you find for finicky cats, is there one that you find okay, if this cat might be reluctant, I'm gonna use this one, or do you kind of stick with more condition specific?
I think we stick with more condition specific,
Yeah.
but
Same recommendation too, just to
Yeah.
start little bit by little bit.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's if they're rejecting it, then start small and build up over time. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to anything, some cats It doesn't matter if it's a mushroom or if it's a drop of water, right? Like they will watch you. And if you put anything in their food, they're going to be like, no,
Nope.
right? Like it's just
Not happening.
you
Yeah.
you can't take it personally.
over.
We don't, we stop taking it personally when it's like, I can't get my cat to take this. We'll give you all the tools and tricks to try to get your cat to take something, but because cat.
Yeah. When I worked for Standard Process before Real Mushrooms, and we had a feline line as well. So one of the tricks that I found sometimes worked was, when they were like tablets, and if the cat would not eat the tablet or the powder, to put it beside the bowl, like not put it in the food, but put it near the bowl, so that the smell, when they're eating the food that tastes the same, that smell would they'd kind of get that smell and eventually kind of added to the bowl. And in some cases that worked.
It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
I mean, some cats can be really nervous about anything new
Yeah.
and just say absolutely not. So giving them a chance and a choice to acclimate to something new and let them know consistently, that this is something that could be good in your food. It can make a difference. And I know a lot of people, we get a lot of people that they are in crisis mode and they need this to work. But think about it from the perspective of taking a day or 2 or 3
Right.
to be patient and
Yeah.
work up to an effective dose versus not having any of those benefits. I think that that's on us humans to really give a chance.
Yeah. And don't give up right away. Like if they don't take it right away, the first time,
Yep.
there are tricks. And speaking of tricks, like I just want to make sure we get this in this conversation, because you all blew my mind. So for those that don't know, we were all at Whole Pet Con this past weekend, and I had the supreme pleasure, me and Britta had the supreme pleasure of hearing the two of you speak. And it was my first time hearing you speak at a conference, and you shared this information about cats' whiskers and bowls that I think was one of the most valuable things I took away from the conference.
Wow.
And I would love it if you if you're open to it, if you kind of shared. I haven't even told Doc Rob about it, and maybe he knows this already. But
I bet Doc Rob knows this one.
Yeah, probably.
But we didn't. I mean, you
For a
go
long
out and get
time.
those cute little cat bowls, a little pile on the bottom. And then it's funny, right? They make memes about it. My cat only eats the middle of the bowl and then acts like they're starving. They haven't eaten in it. And it's because cats' whiskers are literally, they're each attached to their own muscle. They're basically sensory organs in a way. It's how they sense the world around them. When you put them in a little bowl like that, cats, and there's an exception to every rule, but they can get whisker stress, whisker fatigue. They don't like the bowl touching their whiskers. So that's why they only eat the center.
And it makes them nervous. So feeding your cat from a platter or a plate or a wide, shallow bowl, something like that is going to be more beneficial. It's going to reduce that stress that they have. They're not just going to scarf and run or scarf and barf, right? But they're going to they're also going to enjoy their eating experience better. And when you're trying to give them a new food, those, or a supplement for that matter, if it has a strong smell, right? Our cats have 200 million scent sensors in their nose. They smell stuff that we would never smell. That smell and stuffed in a little bowl is going to be 10 times stronger. And if there's anything new in it, that's going to be scarier, right? So feeding them from a board or a platter of some sort is going to let those aromas go out, and you'll have a much better chance of getting your cat to eat a better food by feeding that way.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. I mean, 20 some odd years in vet medicine, and I did not know that. Rob, you probably did, but
those whiskers really do serve a very important function, especially in the dark when they're going through vegetation. It can feel what's, they are sensory organs. Exactly.
Yeah. So for those people out there that are having trouble getting their cats to eat, check out the bowl. Make sure that those whiskers have a lot of room.
Yeah.
A lot of room.
The feeding flat's good. They like to kind of lick and go down to it. They kind of will scoop it up with their lower jaw because they're not tearing flesh apart like they're designed to do. So that makes it easier for them to to
Yeah.
They're
Even pick up their food.
take food in.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So Rem1 is asking, are there mushrooms that we could use for parasites such as worms in cats? Saw tiny white worms around my cat's butt and he's losing fur. He lives in a catio and goes outdoors on a leash.
Happy cat.
I can't answer that. I don't know of one. You should take the stool of your cat into a veterinarian and find out what the worms are. Many of the wormers that they have are relatively safe, especially if it's just a single dosage of it, and they're quite effective. And if he's losing hair, I'm concerned that it's a fairly large burden of worms, especially if they're around his butt. Now,
Yeah.
some of those worms around his butt might be actually coming from the outside, versus the inside, and may not be parasites. It may be that he's got a skin problem and there's something external that's attacking his skin. So I think, a visit to the vet would be a good first place to start with that problem.
Well, and I'll do a little shameless plug here too, because we actually do
Yeah.
have a natural dewormer on our website.
Let's try
Called
that first.
Yeah, I guessed that there was probably an anti-parasitic mushroom out there especially
And
after
now we're
hearing
gonna
you
go down the
speak this.
rabbit hole.
Now we're going to go down the rabbit hole. But after hearing you speak, Joni, this weekend, we were like, wow, mushrooms are like so cool. They like do everything. They like rule the world. It's freaking awesome.
I don't think Real Mushroom sells a mushroom like that. If you go back historically, if you look at Otzi the Iceman, when he was found perfectly preserved in an ice glacier in France, he had two mushrooms with him, and one was a fire starter, but the other mushroom they believe was for parasites. And when they did an MRI, they found that he did have inner parasites. But I don't know of any company that makes a commercial product. And the herbal anti-parasitic herbs are quite bitter, like wormwood, Artemisia.
Yeah.
And it may be difficult, there may be a mushroom or an herb for that, but there may not be a cat who would take it,
And you have to be careful with wormwood too. I feel. Yeah. But I love that you have a product. What is it called?
Yeah, it's called Wormex.
Worm.
Yeah, it is actually, and it's made of herbs, but it is actually the most bitter.
It's not delicious.
Yeah, so you would want to take that advice on the sardines, most likely, to use it. But it works fantastic. We've been successful with this for 10 years now.
Yeah. I also want to shout out or just reiterate what Dr. Rob said, though, about a lot of people are like, I don't know if my cat has worms. How do I know if my cat has worms? And for a lot of cats that it's really hard to take them to the vet, grab that stool sample, call your vet or call a vet and say, hey, I'd like to bring in a stool sample. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah.
We've done it where we just put it in a Ziploc bag and bring it down,
Right.
bring it to the street.
Yeah.
So you can find
get a
out
fecal
what
exam.
so you can get a fecal and find out what you're dealing with.
Yeah, and regardless of if you're going to kind of take a more a Western route for deworming or a natural, knowing what you're dealing with, like diagnostics. I'm a huge fan of diagnostics, and then you have a choice. Like Doc Rob was saying, is it something coming external, or is this an internal parasite? Might help you figure out like what direction you want to go, even holistically. Yeah, absolutely, cool.
Right.
So let's move on to the next question. Oh, actually, and just I'm going to shout out the promo code. So the Two Crazy Cat Ladies on their site, if you use the code Real Mushrooms, you can get 20% off site-wide until the end of the month, until September 30th. Remember, there's only 30 days in September, so we've got 1 day short to take care of this. And then Real Mushrooms is, as we do every month, we offer a promo code. And this month it is PURRKS, PURRKS 25 for 25% off site-wide until September 30th. Alrighty, let's take that next question. My cat keeps peeing outside of the litter box. There doesn't seem to be any physical reason, according to my veterinarian. Any tips? Jay and Adrian, I think you have some experience in this area.
We do. I think there's actually so many tips when it comes to this. First of all, commend you for doing the vet check first, right? Because if cats suddenly start going outside of the box, we don't want to automatically think behavior.
Yeah.
When cats do this, they're telling you there's something's wrong, and we want to get that health check first to make sure there's nothing wrong with them physically. If it is, you've ruled that out, and now we're into this
Why
is the
are they doing
behavioral
that?
issue.
Right.
Yeah.
First two things I would say real quick that are super easy and free is number one, how many litter boxes do you have?
Yep.
A lot of times this can be solved by adding another box. I think the going rule is to have one more litter box than you have cats. Understand in some very small spaces that's not always feasible if you have 5 cats like us. We have 7 litter boxes right now. But so making sure that you have one more litter box than you have cats, and then making sure those litter boxes are in a place that are convenient and safe for your cat, not for you. Oftentimes they'll be like, we don't know why they won't use the litter box. It's because their dryer is on auto fluff and the thing keeps, bathroom time is a vulnerable time for cats. And so if there's something that they feel nervous about there, they're going to start peeing somewhere else or doing their business elsewhere.
Yep. So placement,
Number of
the
boxes.
number of boxes, also the type of litter, and how clean is it, right? Like a lot of cats are super the cats are very clean animals, right? Like they clean themselves fastidiously, right? For a huge percentage of every day, they're grooming themselves. And they're a very clean species. So they like to have a clean box. And you'll also, if you like just skip a day, or like back in the day, and there's no judgment here, back in the day, I scooped the litter box. I think we had 4 cats, 2 boxes. This is before we knew any better. And I would scoop once a week. I don't even know, like, that's so
What were you
bad.
even
Like,
thinking?
I don't even know what I was thinking, but it was like on Thursdays is my scoop day. And then I scoop, right?
But our cats demonstrated what feline behaviorists have taught us, which is that cats can tolerate almost anything until they don't. So it could be, that they're just like, I'm over this. I need it scooped every day. Or they need a bigger box. A lot of these normal litter boxes are just too small, especially Dr. Rob, I'm sure that, with Maine Coons, the box that you would pick up somewhere is not going to.
Even the biggest box that you spend like almost $100 on for an actual litter box, and a big one, they're still, they're still they're still too small and way too expensive in our opinion.
Yeah.
We use storage totes, right? So we get the 90
Big,
gallon, is it 90
quarts.
90 quarts storage containers, super cheap. You can get them at the hardware store for, they're now like $20 or $12, something like that. Cut a little entrance into it, and then
we get the ones with the high walls so that there's no elevator.
Yeah.
But looking at the placement, the number of boxes, the size of the box, if you really start getting into behavioral things, some simple things to might consider are, is there a new cat outside of the house that is there to visit that can cause cats? We know that can cause urine displacement.
Urine displacement.
I like that. Very technical.
Or if there's something in the home that has changed, if they're peeing in a specific spot, there's a lot of things. And I think, this is where we've said often too, that feline behaviorists are one of the most underutilized resources for us cat people. Dr. Rob talking about how much he loves working with cats as a species, how much you really have to understand them, where they come from and their instincts, and it's so much that, I feel like there's so much to better understand about cats, and feline behaviorists can really come in and look at an individual territory and situation and kind of see the things that would red flag a cat to maybe
They speak cat.
Yeah, because a lot of times cats are peeing outside the box to bring themselves comfort. They need their scent somewhere to help them feel like, oh no, this is my space and I'm safe here. So
and you have worked with I know that you went through something like this recently, and you brought in a feline behaviorist.
Yes. The cat behaviorist.
Yeah, you can, if you need more help, go to thecatbehaviorist.com. And
I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Doc Rob, do you have anything to add to that overview of peeing?
I think that that what Jay and Adrian said is absolutely spot on. The question, though, does not really indicate whether there are other cats in the household, and they didn't address that particular issue, although they touched upon it as far as, placement of box and interfering with noises, or maybe a cat that's outside. And the cat outside the window is a very common problem. I've had that often. But no, I really agree with everything they've said. The type of litter, and cats are very particular. It's not any one type of litter that all cats are going to like. We have 2 cats. We have 3 boxes, and they are all mechanized. And I'm just surprised that they will actually jump into this mechanized thing, and they jump out. I'm hearing, what is this sound? And, yeah, but and the downside to those, of course, it's so much better than cleaning the box, but the downside is that you don't really get to examine the stool as it comes out there, and both the stool and whether there's urine being produced or how much urine is being produced, can be important considerations for early detection of problems in your cat. So, everything's kind of a yin yang. Now they're making some new litter that actually is not porous and allows you to collect the urine, so you don't have to take the cat into the vet, that you can take that litter in a little container. Or they have some litter that changes color with pH to help indicate whether maybe the cat, has a urinary tract problem, which is very closely related to urine pH, blah, blah, blah. But nonetheless, I think that you did a great job. And it is one of the single most common problems that we would encounter in a cat, because it's most obvious to the pet parent that there's something wrong.
Correct. And I actually have something, as somebody who does not have a cat, and I have to confess, I told Jay and Adrian before we went live that I love cats, but cats do not love me. I have a history of cats just not liking me. That's why I became a canine rehabilitation therapist and worked with dogs most of my career. I did have cats, though. I am a lover of Oriental Shorthair Siamese cats. So I had 2 beautiful brown brothers named Earl and Merle. And Earl, he peed in the toilet. And the thing is,
when you could train him to do that.
I didn't train him.
Oh.
He just did it.
Amazing.
So
Brilliant cat.
I don't even know how. It was the weirdest. How did Earl and Merle never learned? I mean, Merle never did it, but Earl figured out to use the toilet. I still to this day do not know how that happened, but we're very, very happy about it.
There's a technique to train them. You guys probably know what it is as well. You put saran wrap over the bowl, under the bowl, then you put some cat litter in there, and then you put them up there,
and actually okay, so just a really quick funny story here. So I used to be a massage therapist. So I've done a bunch of things in my life. I used to do massage and energy work. And so one day I had a client on the table, and I was doing massaging, the calm music's playing, and it's quiet, and there's this vibe. And all of a sudden, and there's nobody in my apartment but me and the client. And all of a sudden, there's this noise unmistakably of peeing. And I didn't know what to do. I'm sure this client's on the table going, who is peeing? And so very quietly, I tried to keep in the vibe, and I'm like, that's my cat. And there's a couple seconds, and the client said, do they flush? Cracked up, we both just started cracking up. That was that's my
oh
cat.
my God.
That's my cat story.
That's hilarious.
So Earl the peeing cat, or the toilet peeing cat.
Yeah, and if you didn't train him, then obviously imitation is.
Cats are smart.
Cats are smart.
Cats are smart.
We are.
Cats. The other thing, of course, and I'm sure you guys know this, with cats are drawn to energy. They every time I would do a session, cats, can't, they would get right up on top and want to be there, participating in the session as well.
Yep.
So let's move on to the next question from Nancy, who says, Doctors Becker and Recker have both said they favor raw diets with a calcium source other than raw bones. Reason to lower phosphorus a bit and potentially promote longer healthy kidney function. Thoughts on this? Do you feed raw with or without bone, or both? Great question.
That is a great question.
Yeah, so we do. We feed both for us. I I think that if we're talking about senior cats, I think that a lower bone count is healthier for a senior cat. But all of our cats are 7 and below. And I think, bone-in diets are really, really great. I mean, it mimics what they would eat in the wild. But it's also really great for, growing cats. So I feel like there's maybe, I don't know, I don't have like a cutoff like time, like once your cat gets this age, but when your cats are starting to show their age and they're starting to kind of slow down, that's when I would make that shift.
And I think, again,
more.
back to the individuality, it depends on what
Correct.
they've had their whole lives, how much strain they do have on their kidneys and their organs. So I think that is,
Right.
But absolutely, we do feed both. We actually have eggshell calcium food. And that was, kidney disease was the reason that we switched to raw, and did find it was eggshell calcium, I think, that we in the raw diet, just to lower it a bit.
He was 18 at the time. Our cat was 18. So that was diagnosed with early stage kidney disease. And that's when we switched to raw, but with a calcium source of eggshell calcium instead.
And also, I have to just say that I'm a huge fangirl of both Dr. Becker and Dr. Recker.
Yes.
Absolutely. As are we all. Do you have a calcium product?
We do not.
We do not.
We do not.
Doc Rob, anything to add?
Well, I think that phosphorus is not a problem until it is. And I think that, feeding a good calcium to phosphorus ratio as is naturally present in bones is a good idea, but when it looks like there is a problem with that, then finding a way to lower the calcium is a good idea. Now, all food contains calcium. DNA is high in in phosphorus. DNA is high in phosphorus. So I suggest looking at cordyceps and looking at starting cordyceps early, whether it's as the individual mushroom or in the functional feline, which is one reason I put it there, because it does protect the kidneys and it does support kidney health. And so maybe it will prolong the time before, because we don't have enough evidence yet, because we've just gotten started feeding cats this, but I would suspect that over time we're going to see less problems with phosphorus because of using that cordyceps mushroom.
Wow.
Love that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And a great reminder too, especially as cats age, things can change quickly. So
Absolutely.
it is, back to Tony's point about diagnostics, know what you're dealing with, have those annual, especially for our senior kitties, annual, biannual blood panels to keep an eye on things.
Very important. And bone broth, not a bad source of calcium either, with lots of other benefits.
Yeah. And just being proactive, starting early, because my understanding, kidney disease, it's, it can be festering there for a long time before it shows up really in the blood work. And so it's important to,
Well, there's a new blood test called SDMA, which really gives good early detection.
Oh, good.
And so many of the standard chemistry panels that are done by the veterinarian don't include phosphorus. And the studies show that even if you have a medium to high normal phosphorus, that oftentimes is early indication that it's time to start doing something about that phosphorus, because phosphorus is the first thing that changes when it comes to the initiation of chronic kidney disease. And so phosphorus is important to control.
Good to know. Nancy, I hope that that helped answer your question. This is a great one. What are the most effective ways to prevent dental disease in cats, and how early should dental care start? Do y'all brush your cat's teeth?
Okay.
I wish we did.
Right. So if we start
No, but let's
Always
give the statistics that we've heard is that 70% of cats will have some form of dental disease by the age of 3, and over 90% of cats will have dental disease by the age of 7. So getting started early, like immediately, is I think
Is
very
powerful.
important. Brushing their
your
teeth
cat-
is great.
gold standard.
Yeah.
Absolute gold standard. And since this is a judgment-free zone, no, we are not good at brushing our cat's
No.
teeth. Even though
It's hard to do. They're not very open to it. Start when they're kittens, and I just say, just use your finger. Use your finger, a little bit of dentifrice, and get them used to it. Tasty dentifrice.
Yes.
If I
Well,
used my finger, I'd lose my finger.
you probably would, Jenny.
Tree.
Well,
I mean, we've got start young. We have our Annie. We call her affectionately our wildcat. You know, when she first came to us, she was probably about 7 years old when we found her.
7 years.
7 months old when we found her, and she is obviously during that window of socialization, she was not handled a lot.
Well,
Yeah, so it's that we haven't been able to even trim her claws yet. We
Wow.
keep an eye on them, but yes. So dental disease definitely dental care definitely start early.
Yeah.
Brushing is gold standard. There's a great company out there called Ryer Cat, RYER. They make a cat specific toothbrush if you're worried about losing a finger. Which
Yeah.
is great, ergonomically designed for that. And then there's also
and they have a lot of videos on how to.
Yeah.
So on social media, they're on Instagram. I think they're on Facebook. They're on
on
TikTok. But they have a lot of videos on how to get started, how to get your cat started.
How to hold them, how
Yeah.
to slowly get them used to it.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great information. So if you're interested in brushing your cat's teeth, highly recommend
Yes.
to check out their social media. And then there's dental additives. Obviously, we don't want to start feeding our cats a high starch and carb diet, right? Like you guys, I mean, you probably have heard this a million times, but we still have people that come to us and say that their veterinarian has told them that their cat needs to eat kibble because it cleans their teeth. And it's like, that has been,
Thank you, Dr. Rob.
it's like,
Thank
that
you.
has been
That is the
debunked
approach.
for so long. I don't know why anyone is still saying that.
Because they sell the food.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But-
It's
I don't know. Yeah.
Most cats don't chew their kibble.
yeah.
One, right? But
They
But
throw it up
two, it's
full.
full when it's full of starches and carbs. We know that cleans to the teeth. And these statistics would not be these statistics if it actually did
Right.
clean
Right.
it. Right? Because it's like 90% of parents still feed, right?
I
So-
hear people say that all. So, I mean, every other week I hear that. Oh, well, my kibble's going to keep the teeth clean. That's just insane. Yeah.
And
But-
the carbohydrates in the food and the ultra processed nature of the food also contribute to the biofilm and contribute to the growth of pathogenic bacteria. There's some new strategies evolving that help to address the biofilm and also help to implant healthy bacteria, and also looking at the microbiome. As we're getting really into the microbiome in the gut and the skin, there is a microbiome in the mouth and a microbiome on the ear as well. And I look forward, because there's more products reaching the market that are being developed. I'm looking forward to examining them and looking at some of the evidence that supports that they work for this, because
Yeah.
we need to find something that's a little less invasive than brushing the teeth.
You're brushing teeth.
Right.
Yeah,
It's an
exactly.
impossible dream in most cats.
It really is. It's true. And we just partnered with a company called Teeth.
I was just going to ask, Moon Mojo dropped in the comments, and I was going to ask you about teeth.
Yeah.
Dr.
So
Emily Stein. And I love that Rita Hogan said this, I think the first time I heard it. She said, the mouth is the gateway to health. And then Dr. Emily Stein basically said the same thing. And we're talking about how there is a completely separate microbiome in the mouth, so that we can help feed a healthy microbiome in the mouth.
Yeah.
And that's what the teeth powder is. It's a dental additive. You put it in their food. You can
You
put
add
it in
water too. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
water. Yep.
I think it works better if you put it in the food than in the water, just
Yeah.
simply because cats are desert animals. They don't drink the water like
And it's additional
in the dog
exposure.
in their dog version.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the dog version. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
version, yeah, because dogs drink their water, right? But cats, like they get very little water when they even try to drink because they don't have a ladle for a tongue, right? So
Although
they're getting
we will say, so Zorro is one of our oldest cats, and Friday is his twin sister that walked by earlier. He's an example of a cat that we never saw drink water. You know, he's raw fed diet his whole life, never saw him drink water. We started adding teeth into the water. I took a video of it because it freaked me out.
we thought it
started
was like sick or something. Right?
Yeah, he started drinking the water when we added teeth to it. So,
Wow.
you know,
So we
cats
do
are
both.
smart. There was something that he needed in there. So I love where, you know, like Dr. Rob said, I love where the education is going and where the resources are starting to come in, because it is really hard. These statistics are heartbreaking. We've been there. We've had cats that we didn't know anything was wrong, and then all of a sudden they have 9 teeth removed. And it's like, how did what is going on?
Or a tooth fell out, rotted
you
out,
see
and
it.
we're like, I
Yeah.
didn't know that they could get dental issues.
Right.
You
And
know?
cats are stoic, so they're not gonna be like, I got a toothache. So if you've
Right.
ever had a toothache, or if you've ever had an abscess,
Yeah.
you know how mind-blowingly painful it can be. So
Mhm.
really being proactive about dental health is
Very important.
Yeah. And it's, well, I have a comment and then I also have another question about dental health. Like, I know on the human side, because I'm terrible with I have dental phobia. And so I have a really hard time going to the dentist. But then, there's studies that have come out um, that have connected like poor dental health with dementia in humans, and like that got my attention. That got me to the dentist for a deep cleaning, and I would imagine that the same could potentially be true for our, feline and canine friends. The question I wanted to ask, feline resorptive lesions, like such a tragedy, like when we're talking about tooth loss and these very often young cats that suddenly get the inflammation in the gums and that whole syndrome. Ladies and Doc Rob, like, have you found any protocols that help, or do you have any products that can support that?
I really wish they would do more studies on this specifically, because we've heard a bunch of stuff as far as like orange cats get these more than other, but we don't know if there's any real science behind why this happens. But another reason, in my opinion, another reason to be proactive at building that microbiome early on, right? Like support that microbiome of the mouth with diet and supplements, but let's get the mouth under control so that we don't have these issues.
Yeah.
It's a tough problem, and it's just the tip of the iceberg, because it's a part of an inflammatory oral condition we see in cats. When it gets worse, they have this inflammatory gingivitis where all the gums just look really red and angry, and that can extend to the back of the mouth, the entire oropharynx. It can get really bad. I don't have a patent solution for it. I think starting them off with the right food, none of that commercial crap, and being careful about vaccinations and using anti-inflammatory and antioxidant types of supplements at the same time, I think would be the way, at least to be as preventive as possible, although there is definitely a genetic component. Maine Coons have a tendency to gingivitis. Poor little Spencer, even at a year of age, he already had smelly gums from his gingivitis, and he's already had one cleaning. He needs another. The household is reluctant to do that, also because they've gotten quite expensive these days. It would be $1,000 just to clean.
Yeah.
It's sad. I have a friend in Florida who was so excited, got their first cat. It was a Maine Coon kitten, and before they were 1 year of age, they had these resorptive lesions and had to remove a fair number of the teeth. And often my understanding is that's really one of the only things you can do. And these cats can actually do well with once the teeth are removed, they can get.
Actually, it's gross to wrap your mind around that, though.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, but.
Yeah, and let's mention also anesthesia-free dentals, because I think that's also something that's very attractive because it's anesthesia-free. But at the same time, to clean a tooth efficiently, you really need to be able to go underneath the gum in a careful fashion, and it's sharp. And if the cat jerks his head, you can damage the gum. So it's problematic. I think there's some who can actually do it very well. Maybe light sedation might be a solution versus general anesthesia. Each cat, maps their own, course as far as what is best for them.
Yeah, but we agree with that as well. We heard Dr. Katie Kangas speak a year or two ago on dental health, and she said the same thing. And that it's really important. Now, at the same time, as cat parents, it's like, do we want to take our cat into the vet every year, go under anesthesia every year to have a teeth cleaning? And, most vets, if you say, hey, I want to do my yearly teeth cleaning, they'll be like, yeah, bring them, let's do it. Right.
Yeah,
but I think it's important for us to get their teeth checked, but they might not always need a cleaning every year.
Right.
That's where we are with our cats.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm also not a fan of non-anesthesia dentals. I mean, I know it's better than nothing, but I agree with everything y'all are saying about that. My goodness, can you believe we're almost out of time? How about we take one more question? I know that went by so fast, right? Wow. I know.
It was a lot of fun.
Britta, like, what's the final question from Anthea?
Good
Do you have a
question.
mushroom suggestion for a diabetic cat? Excellent.
I do. I do. And that's because we know that mushrooms, the beta glucans, and some of the other active ingredients in them can actually lower blood sugar, but not in a way that makes them hypoglycemic, but can definitely, if they're a diabetic, it can help to normalize that. Any mushroom will do that.
Really?
That's exciting.
I did not know that.
So it should be it's a good part of a diabetes control management. If the animal is already on insulin and maybe is a little bit fragile as far as the management of that, there are times, and I have heard some incidences where the mushrooms can actually lower them a little bit too much, so they get that kind of hypoglycemic, fuzziness, and sometimes some little tremors or mini convulsions.
So keep up with the glucose levels.
So take it slowly. Yeah. And many people now are doing in-home glucose levels to help manage if they actually are on insulin, although we have some better options than just insulin these days too for diabetes. But mushrooms are good for that.
Interesting.
By itself, in terms of what it does to the microbiome and everything else, the mushrooms are good for that stuff. Mm-hmm. Metabolic syndrome, the whole thing.
That is good to know.
Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So we all learned something today. And Rob, you just kind of leaned back, and I need to get a view of that shirt you're wearing. Like, what is it like?
It says Leonardo's Cats, and I got it the one time I actually went on a vacation. I was in Florence, and I figured tonight it's a very appropriate T-shirt to wear.
It is, and you wear it very well.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So one last time, just want to shout out the promo codes for the Two Crazy Cat Ladies website. Use the code Real Mushrooms for 20% off site-wide until the end of September. And for the Real Mushroom site, you can use the code PERK, PERK.
Who made that up?
25% off site-wide until September 30th. This was so much fun, you guys.
I just want to say 25% off functional feline, folks. Go get it.
Get it.
Because it's a good sized tub. All 5 of our cats have no problem taking. Start with the whisper dose, like we talked about. But you think about the benefits and the power of being proactive.
Yeah.
Get
some.
Yeah. Go. Shout out to Doc Rob. He came out with the Daily Dog first, which I call his masterpiece formula. And then because he's such a huge cat lover, he came out with the feline version, the functional feline. And it's been, we're so excited to be able to offer something to the feline community as well. And by the way, Rob, for those that don't know, Rob has a book called There's a Mushroom for That. If you want to go deeper down the mushroom rabbit hole for your pets, it's a wonderful book. Rob, also you do your monthly, so Rob does a Q&A. Rob has his own platform, the Well Pet Dispensary, and once a month he does a Q&A, and he stays on until he answers all the questions. So Rob, and it's next week, right? What is the topic?
The topic is longevity.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure it's next week. We usually try to make it the week after on Thursday, at about the same time. Yeah, the 25th. Absolutely. Okay. Come join. Come to my website, Well Pet Dispensary, and you can sign up there.
Awesome. And Jay and Adrian, anything coming up that you want to share that's coming up for you guys?
Well, so we also host a Q&A on our web or on our platforms, social media platforms on Mondays. Starts at 5 p.m. Pacific time on TikTok, and then 5:30 we go to Instagram, and then 6 o'clock we go to here on Facebook and YouTube. So we just do like quick rapid fire Q&As, and then we have our podcast that we host, Back in the Closet, which Dr. Rob has been on with us in the past.
We might need to have Joni on next to talk about this cat thing you were telling us.
I want to go into. You want to give me a therapy session around why cats don't like me?
I think we should dissect it. Yeah.
We'll talk it through.
Yeah. Yep. And then
stories.
But we're actually traveling in October, so we're going to be speaking at the Raw Feeding Veterinary Society conference in Spain, in Mallorca, Spain, in
Fabulous.
in October. So we're really excited about that.
Excellent.
And then we're going to Seattle to speak at CMeow at the November 1st, I think, November 1st and
First and
2nd.
second.
And then we're going to be
Another
home
great-
for a really long time. So you can
And then
just
we're gonna-
find us online.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Two Crazy Cat Ladies, that's the handle for all of your social media, correct?
Yes.
And and then you can see us. We're heading down to the Feed Rail Summit. Ruby and the team. Rob's going to be down there signing books. So we've got Lee Carroll speaking. So anybody, hope we get to see people down there as well. So anyway, this was so much fun.
Thank you both.
Thank you guys for having
being so
us.
incredible.
Yes.
Such incredible humans. Thank you to Britta in the back, who's the tech.
Britt is wonderful.
This
Britta-
was a good time. Thank you guys so much for having us.
We're going to drag Britta out front one of these days.
Yeah.
All right. Until next month.
All right, guys.
Mwah, mwah.
Good night.
Bye.
Love you.